So many of you reach out to me and say, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know who I am, where I'm going in life, and what I'm supposed to be. I feel completely rudderless and stuck. You ask me how to find out whether or not you're being your true self. Should you be an award-winning documentarian, a singer, a dancer? Who should you be and what path should you go down? That is actually a question I got from a reader recently, and I understand that angst because I've been there myself. But here's my question. Why is it that we're all trying to define ourselves as a job title or description? Why are we limiting ourselves like this? I think I know why. We try to define ourselves as a job description or job title because that gives us an inherent sense of worth. And when you've grown up with this deep sense of unworthiness, as though you're not living up to your own expectations or the real or perceived expectations of others, it can make you feel inherently unworthy to the point where you can't be okay just being a human being. You've got to be more than that. And if you're nodding your head right now because you can completely resonate with what I'm saying, here's what else you need to know. You are never going to realize who you are in a job description or title. You're not there. You have got to let go of that idea, and it is time for a reframe. And that is exactly what we're going to do in this video. And if you are new here, my name is Kara McGill. I'm an ADHD coach who is here for the busy, ambitious brains who want to do so much in life, but they don't know what direction they're going in until now, because that's what we're going to cover in this video. So let's get to it, shall we? Let's start off with a beautiful analogy that I'm going to steal from Michael Singer. He actually talked about this in a recent podcast, and I thought it was so perfect for defining this issue that so many ADHDers are dealing with. Imagine yourself as a boat on the ocean. In fact, we're all boats on the ocean, and the ocean represents the world or the universe that we live in. And because we're all our own unique vessels on this vast ocean, we all deal with choppy waters and big waves and changing weather patterns. It's just the flow of life, and we all deal with it every single day. However, we are not all the same vessel. Some of us are cruise ships, some of us are ocean liners, some of us are battleships, and some of us are tugboats. But ADHDers, I like to think of us as sailboats. We're fast, we're graceful, and when we have the wind at our sails, we can do so much and go so far and beat out anyone else in a regatta. However, we need the wind to be in our sails in order to do that. But the problem is that when the wind changes, and the wind always changes, then our sails start to flutter, or maybe we take on too much wind and completely tip over. Sounds like the perfect analogy for ADHD energy, right? So the fundamental question of who am I is the wrong question because you are the captain of your sailboat. The better question is, what direction should I be going in given the vessel that I have, and how can I be the best version of a sailboat captain so that I can get to the destination I want to go to the way I was designed to get there? So for example, you're not an ocean liner or a cruise ship that is designed for steady, consistent momentum regardless of what the weather patterns are. As a sailboat, you are designed to go with the natural rhythms of the wind. So let's say your best friend is a cruise ship, and this friend is planning a trip from LA all the way to Alaska to check out the icebergs. And you think that's a great idea. So off you go with your bestie up the West Coast, and the weather gets colder and colder, and the wind gets harder and harder, and you are struggling to keep your vessel afloat. Meanwhile, your bestie, the cruise liner, doesn't even appear to be breaking a sweat as they consistently just keep trucking up the West Coast. Finally, by the time you hit Washington, you are done and you're completely frustrated because as your bestie is trucking along in the straight line with a big engine and lots of resources, you have to sail like this in order to keep up momentum. So it's taking you twice as long and twice as much energy to go half as far. So no wonder you end up pooping out by the time you get to the Canadian border, feeling like you're a failure and frustrated that you've once again set out to do something and failed. And because you're so focused on this failure, you completely forget who you are and how you were designed to move through life. So you just let the wind take you in whatever direction is blowing. Sometimes you're north, sometimes you're east, sometimes you're south, and you see other people going in directions and all you can think about is they're making way more progress than me, whereas you just keep spinning your sails in circles. Sounds like a familiar story, right? I don't know about you, but I'm feeling very seen by this whole analogy. So what has to change here in order for your sailboat to get out of this rudderless situation? Number one, you have to pick a destination. Number two, you have to accept the fact that whatever destination you go to has to be appropriate for a sailboat. And by the way, Alaska is not an appropriate destination for a sailboat, but you also have to respect the fact that as a sailboat, you have to get to your destination the way you were designed to get there. That means sometimes the wind is going to be in your favor. And when you have the sails up, you're just blowing by everyone. But then the wind is going to change. You have to make a commitment that when the direction of the wind changes, that you won't change course with it. You won't let your life or your situation be dictated by the direction of the wind. So what happens when the wind changes? Because it inevitably will. Instead of moving your boat in a new direction or changing course, you take a minute to be still. You pause, maybe you roll your sails down for a while, but you stay committed to the direction you're going in. The bow of your boat, or whatever the front part is always pointed in the direction that you go in. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, that sounds well and good, Karen, but the problem is that I don't know what destination I'm going in. And I would push back on that. I think very often we do know where we want to go, but the allure to change directions the minute the wind changes, because it gets hard, is so strong that we are willing to talk ourselves out of the things that we truly want. Picking your destination is going to require two things. Number one, you have to set realistic expectation. That means you have to have a clear idea of what your destination is, how long it's going to take for you to get there, and how you would best get there as a sailboat. Number two, you have to have self-acceptance that you are a sailboat, which means there's going to be days where you have rocket speed and there's going to be days where you do nothing. But that doesn't mean that you change course. It just means that you accept the rhythm of the vessel that you are sailing. And the last thing you need is a commitment to yourself to be a lifelong student of being the best sailboat captain you possibly can. Because that is how you're going to get to your destination with ease and grace. And let's be honest, not all sailboats are designed for long-haul destinations. You might be better off with smaller or shorter destinations where you can get to a destination quickly, feel a sense of completeness and satisfaction, and then move on to the next destination after that. And there's also nothing wrong with changing course on a destination as long as you're doing it with intention and not because the wind is blowing you in a new direction. As long as you always have your eye on the direction of where you're going, you will continue to go in that direction. The one problem you might come up against, and I see this a lot in my ADHD clients, is that whenever the weather out there changes and it gets hard and rough and bumpy, they internalize that weather and they make it about themselves. We start making that all about us. I'm a terrible captain. I don't know where I'm going. I can't control this boat. Why am I even trying? And then we just take our hands off the wheel because what's the point in steering something you can't control? And we just let her go adrift. And herein lies the problem with that. You will never be able to control the weather out there, the ocean out there. You will only ever be able to control your boat and your destination. So whatever's happening out there is not about you. The skills you need to learn is how to be the best captain you can possibly be, which is really how to be the best ADHD you can possibly be. I know that was a long and meandering analogy, but I hope it illustrated a point that we can only control ourselves and how we respond to life. And how we learn how to do that starts with self-acceptance, understanding that you have unique brain wiring and you have to do things in a way that works best for you. And no matter what you choose to do in life or destination you choose to go after, that is less important than how you get there. You can get there with grace and ease, accepting that you are a beautiful sailboat that can go super fast when the winds are in your sails. And then there's days when you just need to pause and rest when the winds are going in different directions. And it's up to you to choose the right destination that's appropriate for your vessel. So choose a destination based on what's in your heart and what's most appropriate to you. Commit to that destination and know there's going to be days where you go fast and there's going to be days where you don't go anywhere. And don't compare yourself to ocean liners or cruise ships or tugboats because you are a sailboat and you are awesome. I hope that was in some way helpful, guys. Thanks for entertaining my little analogy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.